Well, looks like For Hire made a showing at a regional. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more Oz content. So today we're going to be looking at the Dublin, Ireland regional. And the first thing you're going to see is a lot, and I mean a lot of Draco Tale jam-packed into this. We've been seeing Draco Tale. Some regions, Draco Tale kind of struggles. It's been a pretty hot topic of debate. You know, like, this did show itself as one of the best decks in the room, but, like, you know, is this going to kind of maintain its dominance? You know, what's the long term for this? Well, branded Draco Tale, I think, is the most consistent variant, but you've also got the Magistus Draco Tale variant, which was, you know, bringing up the rear here in top 8, which is not all that surprising, as I do think that package is pretty good. We also did have a branded Despia list, the standard branded deck, you know, without the extra bells and whistles of Draco Tale kind of holding it down, which, I mean, that's going to be a standard competitor no matter where you're going to look at these events. You know, the deck just has consistency about it, and that's pretty nice. We also had Yummy, Typhoon, Tri-Brigade, Yummy, man, it was the Kamal special, basically, where you saw the basic ability to kind of control and use the multi-purpose engines to get the job done. We also have For Hire K9. I think this is one of the coolest lists that really got my attention this regional. You know, there's always going to be something that's going to do well with these regionals. So you just kind of take a second and go, really? Like, For Hire's doing stuff? Yeah, I was able to make top 4 out of this event. And obviously, you know, the K9 cards are a giant help for this deck. They really, really help bring this together. And we also had a Vanquish Soul K9 Challenger as well, which, I mean, this is going to be pretty standard as you're kind of just venturing into the meta, because, I mean, it feels like it's just got the most consistency going for it for things. Now, winning our event here was Jordan's branded Draco pile of fun stuff. And I mean, this has been a pretty standard thing. You know, 1 Albaz, 2 Fallen, a White's fine. I love that all of these lists somehow have managed to start getting the sting into the main deck. But, you know, the minute that you cut out, you know, 2 Ketu Draco Tales, of course you're going to have options here. I've also been noticing a lot of these lists, there's been like a random odd hand trap kind of coming around and actually trying to do things. In this particular build, you know, you have the one of Nibiru. And I mean, it's not like you can't pull back the Nibiru, toss the Nibiru in with the Althalion, maybe turn it into something else. I do see we're playing 2 Secatarion Dragon, though. That feels a little bit interesting in terms of the tech slots. I don't know, maybe this is something that is worth exploring in the possible future of the meta. And of course, Triple Droplet being the massive powerhouse it is. Also, shout out to Pankratops being the board breaker buddy that you want to see. Second place here, this is Luke's Pure branded list. And yes, we are playing the Tri-Brigade Spriggans kit. I think this card has just massively found its way into a lot of these lists, because I mean, this card is just very, very good for being an assister now for the deck. You also do see, obviously, you know, Triple Eluber still being one of the best cards you can have, because tossing it, or, you know, getting off of the branded opening to bridge into the additional combo lines is good. That's, you know, the reason why we choose to want to play this. We're also going with 2 Green Weagle, only 1 copy of the Towers. I have seen some discussion about wanting to explore the second big Towers monster in the deck. I don't necessarily think that it's a crazy topic of discussion, but I can get behind why you would want to explore, you know, opening up the doors and testing out more variations of this. But outside of that, I think this list looks pretty standard for what you got. Next up is Vladis's inspired by Kamal pile, as we're going to say. So, I mean, the reason why this deck works is like Radiant Typhoon stuff ends up being, you know, bridge parts for you to get to the additional little pieces. Also, having the Totem Bird acting as a spell and trap negate is going to be really, really strong. You've also got the entirety of the Yummy line to toggle through. And as you can see, the deck does access additional copies of the Radiant Typhoon cards to kind of act as that additional deterrent to actually kind of help you out, which is nice. Build's also only playing one field spell, which, I mean, I guess. The Tri-Brigade Oath was also, I think, one of Kamal's best tools that they showed off. But seeing another list successfully navigating the ocean of the meta here, and actually showing, you know, hey, this deck is doing stuff, I think is really, really saying something about the current state of the meta. Next up here is Cam's for Hire Canine pile. Now, the big thing you got to understand here, Rex here and Rex here, I know, they're both named Rex, they're fossil dig targets. I think that's one of my favorite things about this deck is having active dinosaurs that you can actually use for things is really good. But also this is going to act as another level 5. You know, you did lose some of the most important level 5 tools you had when Joe Cool got limited, but that doesn't mean that, you know, we're not able to navigate and actually try to rebuild the structuring of that. Which, I mean, is what this deck is going to do. It's going to use the canine stuff as the base to go through the extra deck mechanics to set up and interrupt the opponent. Also, side decking Shifter, the super transformation technique, you know, some anti-fun down here. I can perfectly understand why this deck was actually able to do well within its meta. Next up is Jack's Draco Tale pile, and you're going to be seeing a lot of this Draco Tale stuff, man, because it's kind of the go-to right now. Though the cool thing with this build, I think we're playing 43. Yeah, we are playing 43. You got the Spentas, you have the 1/Zorro, and you have the 1 Crowley. You got to remember the reason why you're choosing to play the Crowley is because when it's added to hand, you know, you just kind of roll with it, and you're able to kind of make some stupid boards with it, which I think is really, really funny. You also get access to like the big Magistus fusion monster or the invoked Magistus, which, I mean, this card being generic, obviously, you know, this becomes Alistair for you to work with, but this card does do some pretty little interesting things for what this deck is supposed to do. So if you are choosing to build the Draco Tale variant, you know, the Magistus stuff is going to be acting as the DLC package for the deck, which is just going to make the deck a little bit more consistent on the back end. Next up is Iffy's Draco Tale pile. And once again, hey, I'm so proud everybody's found a way to get Sting into the main deck. We are seeing 2 incredible Ecclesias. One thing we noticed out of the YCS weekends was the multitude of incredible Ecclesias you can kind of build into the deck is kind of telling, actually. Well, I mean, we had builds that were trying triple incredible Ecclesia. I still think to this day that feels like a little bit much. You know, you want your deck to be consistent, but you don't want it to be too clogged. I think, like, if you want to extend the numbers, going to 2 is fine. Still seeing triple Fallen of White here, so they just cut out the original Albaz, which I can understand why. I mean, original Albaz is all fine and dandy, but this card does kind of the same thing that you needed to do minus the fusion on the board. And then, of course, they are playing the Exciton Knight for the board clear. This has come up a lot more than it actually should have. I'm actually kind of surprised. Next up here, we have Raphael's Draco Tale. Wow, all the Draco Tale decks managed to somehow end up in the bottom half of the seed down here. I do see we are playing the Kaiju in the side deck. You know, Artholianing back the Kaiju to eventually tribute over another monster the opponent has, I think is some of the funniest garbage you can do. But I mean, that just, it proves, you know, the resource control options that a deck like this actually has, you know, going boop, 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 and, you know, being able to control things is good. Also, side decking the cross out is interesting. I guess if you do walk into like the mirror match, for example, and you know your opponent's going to try to inconvenience you with something, being able to have a cross out on call for the matchup, depending on what you think they're going to have, is probably going to matter quite a lot. Especially, you know, these pesky Mulcharmies, you know, Perulia and Fua can definitely ruin your day in trying to play the game. And our last list here is going to be Daniel's Vanquish Soul Canine list. Kind of sad to see Vanquish Soul getting 8th place, but I mean, that's fine. 1 Holly Sue, 1 Joe Cool is fine. Going with the triple ghost spell in the main deck is good. We have access to Shifter in the main deck as well, as you should be. Side decking Dimensional Fissures. Oh, look, another deck that can can take advantage of dimensional fissure. This has been a pretty common topic of discussion that, you know, if you do see this card, it usually ends up winning you some games. Also see we have Saruja to kind of turbo dig into the deck a little bit easier for those options, but this looks pretty standard. So really cool to see For Hire actually doing well on the regional level. I'm really just, it's kind of cool to see what's functionally happening at all of these regionals. So please leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here in Dig. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.